Hi folks, this is Tara the Homestead Hopeful, and today I want to talk to you about something that's really been driving me crazy for the last few weeks. Before I get started, please know that I'm not a doctor, and there could be mistakes in this video, but I promise I'll be as accurate and thorough as I possibly can. See, I've seen a whole lot of people saying that we shouldn't worry about COVID-19, aka the coronavirus, because flu kills more people every year than COVID-19. Every time I see people say this, I just want to scream. I mean, of course it kills more people than COVID-19, so far. It's a new disease. It's only just beginning to spread. Approximately 1 billion people, about 1 out of every 7.5 people on Earth, gets the flu every year. As of right now, a little over 80,000 people have COVID-19, at least as far as we know based on the official numbers they're giving us. And yes, the flu kills around 300 to 700,000 people a year on average. And only about 2,700 people have died from COVID-19 thus far. But let's do the math. Let's say worst case scenario and the flu kills 1 million people in a year. Considering the worst numbers are usually under 700,000, this is a huge overestimation, but let's just say we get a particularly virulent strain one year and it kills 1 million. That's a 0.1% mortality rate. Not 1%, 0.1%, a tenth of 1%. Now let's look at the numbers we're being given for COVID-19. At the moment I'm making this video, there are 81,007 cases confirmed worldwide and 2,763 deaths. That's approximately a 3.4% mortality rate. 3.4% mortality versus 0.1%. Let's scale that. At a 3% mortality rate, if 1 billion people got infected, which is the number of people who get the flu every year, we would have 30 million deaths. So you're telling me you think COVID-19 is no more dangerous than the flu when we would have more than 30 times as many deaths from it as we would have in the worst flu season ever. Not to mention, approximately 20% of people who contract COVID-19 end up in ICU, intensive care. We only have approximately 70,000 ICU beds in the entire United States. There are approximately 9.3 million to 45 million flu infections in the United States every year. Let's just say 10 million people end up infected with COVID-19, which is the low end of flu infections. 20% of 10 million is 2 million people. So 2 million people would need intensive care, but we only have 70,000 ICU beds nationwide. Do you see the problem? And remember, I'm using the low-end numbers. COVID-19 is far more infective than the flu, so if it got out of control, more people would likely end up with it than the flu. I'm not fear-mongering here, I'm being realistic, and actually quite conservative with my numbers. Let's look at some comparisons between COVID-19 and the common flu from Johns Hopkins University. Both diseases are transmitted in similar ways. However, COVID-19 is believed to also be spread through the airborne route, meaning that tiny droplets remaining in the air could cause the disease in others even after the ill person is no longer near. This would make COVID-19 much more infective than the flu, which is spread by droplets but not truly airborne. With the flu, antiviral medications can help shorten the duration of the illness and ease symptoms. But it's not yet known if antiviral medications can help with the symptoms of COVID-19. The flu has a vaccine available for the most common strains each year, and a vaccine for COVID-19 is probably several months away at best. I'm not here to debate whether or not one should take vaccines, I'm just reporting on the availability. The flu has approximately a 0.1%, 1/10 of 1% mortality rate versus a 3.4% mortality rate from COVID-19. That means COVID-19 is, as far as we know right now, 30 times more deadly than flu. The R0, which is the measure of how contagious a disease is approximately 1.3 for flu. The R0 of COVID-19 is thought to be between 2 and 6. The numbers are still not definitive yet, but even if the value is only 2, that's almost twice as infective as the flu. Also, it's been said that COVID-19 has an incubation period of at least 14 days on average, and potentially as long as 27 days in some rare cases. That means someone can have the virus and show no symptoms at all for almost a month. They could be spreading it to their family, friends, co-workers, and even people on the street for 2 to 4 weeks before they even realize they might be sick. When you combine the high level of infectivity with the long incubation period, extremely high mortality rate, and lack of available medical care, this virus is far, far worse than the flu. Now, you might be thinking, but it's not spreading in my country. Okay, fine. But it wasn't spreading in South Korea until it was. As of right now, there are 833 confirmed cases in South Korea, with more than 11,600 undergoing tests and 8 deaths. There are more than 10,000 people in quarantine, and about a week ago there were very few cases there. It also wasn't spreading in Italy until it was. They've had 7 deaths so far, with 230 infections, 27 in intensive care, and 10 towns with a population of about 50,000 people are on lockdown. And they're even talking about increasing that to as many as 100,000 people on lockdown. There are also 95 cases in Iran and 16 deaths. That's a 16.8% mortality rate. And let's not forget the Diamond Princess ship, where 691 people were infected and there have been 3 deaths. As you can see, this disease can get out of control really quickly. As far as we know, there are only 57 cases and no deaths in the US, but all it will take is one person getting out in public with a disease and it could spiral out of control just like it did in these other countries. Look, I'm not telling you this to try to make you panic. I just want you to see that this isn't the flu. It's known to have a death rate around 30 times higher. It's more than twice as infective, perhaps even more so. There's no vaccine, there's no known treatment yet, just some experimental trials. If anyone tells you it's no worse than the flu, you can show them this video or show them the places I got my information from. So, what can you do to get ready in case this does start spreading in your area? Well, the first thing is to start stocking up on enough food and supplies to get you through a potential lockdown in case one comes to your city. And even if a lockdown doesn't come, it's a good idea to self-isolate if you can, especially if you know the virus is in your immediate area. Okay, I get that it might not be an option for everyone. You might have rent or a mortgage to pay, or maybe you don't have enough savings to keep your electricity and water on if you don't work. I totally get it. But if there's a lockdown, you won't have a choice. You'll have to stay home. Hopefully your landlord and utility companies will work with you, but you certainly can't count on that. And you definitely can't count on the government to be there for you. They can't even get help to citizens in a timely fashion after a hurricane, much less a disaster of the magnitude that a serious outbreak of COVID-19 would become. I'm going to be making a series of videos on what you can do to prepare yourself for a potential lockdown, even if you're on a tight budget. So if you found yourself unprepared and you're not sure what to do to get started, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss them. This is Tara, the Homestead Hopeful, saying stay prepared, stay safe, and stay hopeful.